All right. There you go. So, what am I talking about tonight? I'm talking about three of everything. Now, the very final thing I want to really talk about here is the fact is I'm talking about three beats, right? I've got the rock beat. I got the blues beat. Shuffle. Whatever it is, there you go. And the derivatives, I spent a whole thing going off on a tangent about all the little twist beats and half time and cut time and all of that sort of stuff. When you want to play drums, you need to just know them. So when you're in a band, and especially if you're in a cover band and all that stuff, and you get a break and you're actually doing a paying gig, ba-ching, and what happens is the band leader's going to say, this one, I don't know that song, what am I going to do? Oh, it's just a twist, okay? And you go, okay. Imagine ringing up a plumber, and I've got a leak, my front room's getting flooded. Can you think, can you tell me which one's the hammer and which one's the spanner? Can you imagine that if you ring up a plumber and get him to it? So when someone gets a drummer and they don't know their beats properly, you want to make sure that you're not in that position, hey? And there you go. So what happens is that you just want to know your stuff like the human drum machine, really. And then over the top of that, you put your style. There's a reason you got asked to play in that band and all that, and it's because of you, right? Okay, someone believes in you, and you owe it to whomever to believe them back by knowing your stuff. Okay, there's a kind of a thing there. It's just a camaraderie and a brotherhood and a family of things, a sisterhood, all of this sort of personhood, all this sort of stuff. And what goes on with all this is once you know your stuff, you work for it, it works for you. Okay, and that's a thing that I've held dear for a long time, sort of thing. Hats off to my friend Reno, who says that saying quite often as well. And there you go. So there's all that bit to sort of finish things off a little bit with this. But when you've got these kinds of this kind of backup through just knowledge, knowing your stuff, understanding what's going on, you've got a bedrock, and you are the drummer for a band, that sort of thing, and it's up to you to be the bedrock of that band. So one of the things about that is to understand how to work the time. Okay, and so what I've done here, quickly going over it again, let's say you've just got a hi-hat, that's fine. Now that can be many things. If I take away that accent and just play it evenly, right, there it is. But as soon as I start counting, there's an inherent pulse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... One of the things is a guy called Bob Moses, who's an American drummer. He put out a book decades ago called Drumming Wisdom, and it was off the planet, and I loved it. And what he did was he started talking about the concept of 8/8, because when you're dealing with 4/4 as time, what happens is, what does 4/4 tell you? You have 4 beats in the bar, and those beats are crotchets, 4 quarter notes, okay? I'm expecting you know this kind of stuff. There it is. And there's 4 quarter notes in the bar. So that gives you the inference of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... But Bob Moses often talked about 8/8. And it's a funny thing because my ex-wife, was a dancer. And what would happen is I'd be off in this room here and working on the beats, and I'm here, I'm teaching kids 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all that. Then I'd have a break and I'd go out into the front room and I'd watch her working on her dance moves, step by step. And she was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because of the movements. It's not 1 and 2 and, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. This movement was 2 counts and this one was 1, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And by the time she got to her dance troupe, I should say, and all that sort of business, it was, and all that sort of stuff, brilliant stuff, So what happens with 8/8 is that's more of a cut time jazz thing, sort of thing. So you might have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 6, 8, 1. You see? You see I'm flirting with time there. You see? So there's an interesting concept. So what happens is when you've got this, that can go from crotchets, fast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, work out a metronome beat to that. You can make them quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, or you can make them groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 12, 8. Or it could be triplets, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. And so within that lays a lot of time concepts, okay? And that is where I trail off, okay? So that's my show, you see. I'm going to work on that a little bit more. In many ways, my show morphs into the next show and all that sort of stuff. So I try to make it as cohesive as possible and talking about different things. And even within what I've just done, there's hopefully there's a lot you can sort of jot down. I've mentioned Bob Moses. Who mentions him anymore? You know, he's not with the other big names that we all know, you know, sort of thing. Bob Moses, Drumming Wisdom, find the book. It was put out through Modern Drummer Publications. So it meant something to someone somewhere. I've mentioned Master of Puppets, you know, sort of thing, and all the different kinds of things. So go and check these people out, you know, sort of thing. Anyway, my name's Chris Quinlan. This is MelbourneMusos. This is show 674. Show number 1 was in 1995 at the beginning of Channel 31. They've asked me back. Just when you're out, they pull you back in. Wonderfully so. It's great to be back on the telly. I never really lost it. I kept doing the show just in other places, but it's great to have it on Channel 31 and have them running and rolling again. This is great. So my name's Chris Quinlan. It's MelbourneMusos, and it's all about drums and all the little bits and bibs and bobs that go with them. Okay, I'll see you next week. Hey, take care. Bye-bye.